Hi, this is Taylor Hall, and I'm glad to be here on NHL. Ugh.
Hey, it's Jordan Eberle. Great to be here on NHLPA presents Gerry D Sports Reporter.
Woo! Wow. Jordan Eberle, Taylor Hall, with me right now. Taylor, you are now with Arizona. And
Yes.
you got to keep following where you go. Moves around a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Which is the business, as you guys say.
It's still, you can still count on one hand, so that's fine.
You're not the suitcase guy. We're not there yet.
Yeah, there you go.
Jordan, this is Islanders is what team for you? How many?
Team 2.
Yeah, so that's okay. What I always like to, ask guys is, so let's go back. You're 10 years old. Do you know at that point there's something special, or were you not even thinking that at that age?
Oh, I think obviously you dream of playing in the NHL, and when you're 10, 11, 12, it might be different for kids these days when they're 10, 11, 12, but I think at that point you're just playing hockey because you love it, and you enjoy everything that comes along with it. You know, growing up out west, it's cold enough to have a rink in the backyard for a lot of months of the year, and really I think that's where you develop your love for the game and, playing street hockey and that kind of thing. But, I think, maybe at age 10, you're definitely not thinking of you're going to play in the NHL, but probably around age 12, you're starting to compare yourself to your peers and see how you stack up. I actually remember, I think I was probably 12 and I was at a camp. Jordan knows where I'm going with this. I was at a camp
Very pern.
and I was playing with the kids above me, and there was a kid at the camp that no one really knew because he was from Saskatchewan, and he had awful teeth, and he was basically ripping up this camp, and everyone was wondering who it was, and it ended up being Jordan. So, you look back to that point and you see a really good player, and obviously Jordan's had a great career. So there is some correlation, but I think more or less it's just the love of the game at that point.
So, Jordan, I think I know the answer to this. Your biggest goal ever. I'd like to talk about that World Junior goal, which I don't know anybody I know that didn't see it. There's nothing at that level for you that's come that big of a goal at this point in your career. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, that one went along with, obviously, we won the tournament, and, the fashion of it was pretty late. So, you're in the right place at the right time. It goes in, but it doesn't hit you when you score. Like it's not until 10 years later. I don't know how many years it is now. It's probably 12 or something. Like they're still showing it.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a hot topic every time I bring it up. And Halsey's probably going to say I like to bring it up to him lots of the time. But
my favorite thing is when you so I'll start off like the second year, actually, like you had a better, like in the finals, you had an amazing third period. If we would have won that game, I think those goals would have been like talked about way more than your semifinal goal. But I think the best thing is when you went and played the Worlds after Regina and Craig McTavish kept putting you out at the end of games because he thought you had the clutch gene. Like he thought you were just automatic.
I did, yeah. So I went and played in the World Championships as a junior player after, but I was the the 13th forward, and I didn't expect to play at all, really. I mean, all these NHL guys, I'm coming out of junior, and Ryan Smith got hurt, and so I ended up playing. And Halsey's right, yeah. So I'm playing the Worlds, and I don't think I played a shift the whole third period. We're playing against Russia, we're down by 1. And we pull the goalie, and Mac T goes, "Ebs, you're going." I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like, I think he expected me to do something, heroic again. But like you said, I mean, you're in the right place at the right time.
Are there other sports you think you liked as much and then you had to stop? Taylor?
No, I love golf and I played soccer as a kid. Never got into football. I never really got into basketball. For whatever reason, for me, it was always hockey. And, if I had my choice, I'd probably go back and try and play every sport I could and really fill my time. But for whatever reason, it was just always very hockey-centric for me. And it was just what I loved the most to play. So I spent all my time doing that.
Give us your best road trip story.
Well, it's not really. It is a road trip, but it's actually the first time I met Taylor, and
Not a
we
love
were
story, just a.
yeah. I was 17. He was 16, and we were called to go play in the Canada under 18. So we flew to Toronto as a hub city, and we all met there, and then we stayed the night, and then we flew to Russia the next day. So I get there. I don't know Taylor. I know he's a young kid. He lit up the OHL as a 16-year-old. But one of the guys from Hockey Canada came up to me and said, "You're going to room with Halsey, Taylor Hall, good young player. You guys are going to be line mates." So I thought, great. So I get in the room with this kid, and we're in the room. It's like, it's like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock Toronto time, and I'm coming from the West. And Halsey back then, he was like captain serious. He was just focused on making the NHL, and that was his goal. And it's 8 o'clock literally, and Halsey's like, "We got to turn the TV off. We got to go to bed." And I'm like, "It's 6 o'clock from where I'm coming from." And he was like persistent. We have to go to bed. We have to get our certain amount of hours.
I think it was like 10, man.
So I'm like, holy crap. So we shut the light off, and I just stare at the ceiling for 3 hours with this kid sleeping beside me. And I'm not gonna lie, from the day one that I met him, I was like, I don't know if I really like this guy.
You're the older guy. Why would you just listen to him? Do you have a road story? Anything come to you there?
I guess you could say when I was younger, I was a little like in my own world.
He was a space cadet. We'll just call it how it was. He was a space cadet for sure.
All right, so let's go Space Cadet Halsey, and it's like game 8, and we're in Columbus, and I haven't scored yet, and everyone's asking me about it, and obviously you want to score your first goal, especially when Jordan's got like I think 3 or 4 goals at that point and highlight reel. So we do morning skate, and usually morning skate, if you're on the road, the bus is like 12:15 or whatever. And so I was running a little bit late. I was going to take the second bus, which was 12:45, and I got onto the bus around 12:30, and no one was on the bus. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to get back to the hotel. So I just tell the bus driver, "Hey, just go back to the hotel, drop me off, and it doesn't look like anyone's taking the second bus." So I get to the hotel, I have a great nap, I wake up, and I'm rooming with Tom Gilbert at the time. He's like, "Halsey, did you take the bus by yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I didn't think anything was wrong." And he's like, "Ooh, I don't know if you should have done that." And then I start to get nervous. I'm like, "Yeah, I guess maybe I should not have done that." But anyway, so I score a goal that night in the third period, and I finally get the monkey off my back. And obviously you're on top of the world at that point. And I come out of the dressing room, and I find my suit had been, all the pockets of my suit, even the little pocket where you put a pocket square was super glued shut. And my shirt was cut perfectly at the arms here, and my tie was cut perfectly here. So if I did my suit up, you couldn't tell. But I found out after it was Nikolai Habibulin who had taken my stuff and did all that. He was one of the guys that was supposed to be on the second bus, and he had to wait 20 minutes extra for a rookie taking the bus by himself. So yeah, it was interesting time there, and pretty funny to look back on.
Thank you so much. I know your time's valuable, but good luck with everything. Stay safe, and thanks again.
Okay.
Thanks, Gerry.
Thanks.
Hey, this is Jordan Eberle. I'm proud to be here on NHLPA's Presents Gerry D Sports Reporter.
I'm so proud.
We are 2 idiots.